Hello there, everybody out there in live shopping land. It is your host, Marcy McKenna, here with another episode of Let's Talk Live Shopping. Could quite possibly be the favorite part of my week these days because I get to talk about a subject that I love so much and feel so passionately about, which most of you guys probably already know that about me. If we have not met, again, my name is Marcy McKenna. I have been in the live shopping space for over 15 years now, which makes me very, very old. But this has been such a really fun time for me because, yes, I've been in the space for over 15 years. That would be QVC, HSN, Shop HQ, TSC Canada, all of sort of the home shopping space, sort of the more traditional form of live shopping. But then today, I love the new modern age of live shopping. I love doing Amazon Live. Every week I host Grommet Live, which is so much fun. If you have not joined us for Grommet Live, please do. And in fact, we have a show tomorrow night. I'm going to have Jen, who is my producer, I'm going to have her put the link to that inside the chat. So if you want to see live shopping in action, tomorrow night, Grommet Live, we have a Father's Day edition. So that's super fun and makes gifting really, really easy. But in addition to that, it's Pinterest TV. It is, which is not happening now, but I did that for quite a while, which was super fun. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, all of those I do live shopping on. And so it is just so much fun. But more than that, I get to see firsthand what these live shopping events can do for the brands, can do for these small, independent mom and pop kind of e-com brands, all the way up to the big, huge, sort of enterprise level brands. And also not just for e-com at all. What is so cool is that we are seeing more and more how live shopping is truly becoming invaluable for retail, brick and mortar retail and boutiques. So it is, and service-based businesses. I mean, there is just no limit to who and how live shopping can affect a business. And so it's really, really exciting. And I feel like I am just blessed to have this opportunity to share with all of you guys all the benefits about live shopping. And I'm so passionate about working with brands like you to guys help you guys get started in live shopping. And let's see. So I'm just every show, in case you haven't been here before, on every show, what I like to do is really tackle a topic that I hear a lot from all of you. And so today's show is going to be no different. Last week, we talked about a lot of questions I get about if I'm going to do live shopping, should it be on Facebook and Instagram or should it be on TikTok? Like, what's my opinion about the two different platforms? And the truth is they are very different platforms. The demographic is very different. Your goals on one will be very different than your goals on another. So I would encourage you, if you did not see that episode, it's very well worth watching. And you can find all of the previous episodes on my YouTube channel, Let's Talk Live Shopping. So definitely check them out there. If there are any questions you have as you watch even the previous episodes, put them in the comment section because I read every one of them and I will get to every one of them and answer that either inside the comment section or right here on a brand new episode. So that is previous episodes. Today's episode, I'm going to be tackling the 5 questions that I get most frequently. Because one of the things I have loved about this show is I do get so many questions from you guys. So keep that coming. And I'm seeing My Fit Fridge is in the chat. I'm so happy that you're here. This is someone that I've worked with for quite some time, and she has a brand new product coming out. And I have said to her many times, live shopping is absolutely perfect for this product, not just because the nature of the product, but also, guys, if you are someone that has a product that is in development that has not launched yet, whether it's your first product or one of a whole line of products that you have, live shopping is incredible for new product launches, to build excitement, build awareness for this product that you have coming, and really develop this tribe of raving fans and followers who can't wait to buy it when you do launch. And so it's just a fantastic way to build that following. And you guys maybe have heard me say it before, there is no better way to build a targeted email list for your product than live shopping. And I have talked in previous episodes about different tips for how to use live shopping for that. But I do want to mention, before we get into the 5 most commonly asked questions, I do want to mention that I do have a workshop coming up. That is coming up in June, and I the dates always escape me, but I will have Jen put inside the chat the, let's see if she's already put it there, the sign up for that workshop. And I'm mentioning that because it's inside that workshop that I'm going to be going over all of those kinds of things. Like, what are all the benefits of live shopping? How can you capitalize on them? And what are the different tips and tricks to make sure that you get the most out of each one of those? We're also going to be talking about how to get started in live shopping. What is that, step-by-step process so that you can get started sooner than later? Because as you probably all know, 2025 is the year of live shopping. It is just taking off in such a huge way. And it's really, really exciting. So the fact that you guys are all here with me today tells me that you already get that. So kudos to you guys. And Jen just did put that inside the chat. I also want to mention the chat real quick before we get started to say that is where it's at when it comes to live shopping. So get used to chatting. And in fact, I would love all of you guys to say hello to me inside the chat if you can, so I know who's here. I know where you are tuning in from, because we are on all the different platforms. We are on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and X. We are on all of them, but where are you in the world? I would love to know that. We've got Gentle Style Brush here. That is Sherry, who is in Minnesota. I know that because Sherry joins me a lot and I love it. So definitely, yes, say hi inside the chat. And we're going to dive into the 5 most frequently asked questions that I get. So hopefully at least one of them is a question that is on your mind. I'm guessing most of them are, because I do get all of these all of the time. And then at the end of the show, 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, I'm going to share my top live shopping tip with you. And today that tip is coming in the form of a tool. There is a tool. It's actually a tool that I'm kind of newly using for lots of different reasons. But live shopping, it was this light bulb moment for me about how insanely smart this tool is for live shopping. So stay tuned to the end for that, because I can't wait to share that with you guys. And then also, put questions in as they come into your mind tonight or today on the show. Just pop them in the chat, and at the end I will save a few minutes for Q&A, so I'll be able to get to as many of those as I can. And we've got lots of people popping in. We have someone from San Diego. Go Deck, thank you for being here. We've got Candy all the way from Australia. So lots of people, so welcome everybody. Okay, diving in, I have to say, and I tried to think about what order to put these 5 questions in, because as I said, they all come in a lot, but probably the number 1, and a lot of people don't ask it necessarily, but I know they're thinking it. I know they're wanting to ask. And that question is, how much money can I make with live shopping? What is live shopping? If I go down this path of live shopping, what is it going to do to my bottom line? And I actually love that question for many reasons, but I do want to say, because I get that question so often, I just created and launched what I'm calling my live shopping sales calculator. So if that is a question that is on your mind, I am going to have Jen put that in the chat, but also all of these resources that I ever mention on my show are also available on my website. So you can go to marcymckenna.com. It's right there. You can go there, click on the live shopping tab, and then there's free resources tab right under that, and you'll find all of these resources there. But Jen is always 10 steps ahead, and she's got that right there inside the chat. If you guys want to try out the live shopping sales calculator, do that. It's going to ask you to put in a few different little, it's going to ask you a few questions that you fill in, and then based on that data and based on what we know to be true about live shopping, it will tell you how much potentially you could make every month with live shopping. So that to me is a really inspiring tool. And that is my goal, is that you guys will be inspired to take the leap, because it is so worth it on so many levels. So back to the question about how much money I can make. It really does depend. And I'm glad I actually started by telling you about the sales calculator, because the questions that will be asked in there really do matter in terms of how much you can make with live shopping. So it really does depend on how big your audience is. It does depend on how engaged your audience is. It depends on how often you're willing to do live shopping events. And are you going to promote those events, or you just kind of want to sit back and let them happen? Either one works, to be honest, and I will explain why that's true. But what we know for sure is that every company that tries live shopping, actually I shouldn't say every company, I think the most recent statistic was about 98% of companies that add live shopping to their digital marketing strategy increase sales immediately. How could you not? You are going live to brand new audiences. There are no geographical boundaries. people who didn't even know you existed, and people who are your own followers. And so just by going live, it is going to help your bottom line. I just want to, and that's very remedial, I know, but that's the fact. And so, as I said, maybe 2%, 98%, 2%, it didn't help. I don't know why, but in almost every case, it's going to help. And then it's up to you how much it's going to help you. Now, I know a lot of people get fearful about going live because maybe they don't have a lot of followers. Um, and so, who would go and how could that possibly be effective if there's nobody to go to my events? We're going to get into that in another question. But when it comes to what it can do for your bottom line, I mean, the statistics that you're hearing are that it is 10x sales conversion rates with live shopping. And that's huge, obviously. And sales are a very big reason to do live shopping. There are a million other reasons that we're going to get into also for doing live shopping. One of the things I want to caution is that if the only reason you're doing live shopping is because you immediately want to have this cash machine, and you have this kind of a disbelief that, or an incorrect belief that if you pull this lever every time, boom, millions of dollars in cash are going to come out. That's a myth, and that is not going to happen. I do want everyone to understand that when it comes to live shopping, it is more of a marathon than it is a sprint. It is a long game. And I always want people to commit, when you're going to do live shopping, commit to a minimum of 3 months is what I always say, because it takes that long for you to get into your groove and to kind of work out the kinks. And it takes that long for your audience to find you. But I will tell you, once they find you, and if you know how to structure a show, even just a little bit, and if you know how to speak to your audience even just a little bit, if you build it, they will come. We are finding people love live shopping events, and it's what our country is now expecting from brands like you. 82%, the statistic I saw, I think a week ago or so, 82% of consumers prefer to have live content coming from the brands rather than pre-recorded or static. They want live. And so when you do that, when you meet them where they're asking to be met, they're going to be so happy. And the events really are fun. And the more that you do them, the better you're going to get at it, and the more engaged your audience is going to be. So that's when it really starts to get fun, in my opinion, is right about the 3-month mark, is when the income starts to happen, and you start to see why it's so valuable from a revenue perspective. But you also see why all the other brands that are already doing it are doing it. And those are things like the fact that your average order value is going to go up exponentially. And that's just sort of the nature of live shopping and how that all works. But also, that's about the point, actually, maybe even sooner than that, where you're going to start to see your returns go down dramatically. And again, it's inherent to the way live shopping works, because you're explaining the product in such detail. And if they have questions, they get to ask you live, and you get to answer live. And so those kind of benefits start to kick in. And then even if you were making nothing with live shopping, no sales, which is not going to happen, but if it did, you're saying, wow, all these other things are happening. So it's worth it to keep going. And it's so, so true. I have seen it for 15 years. I know it to be true. And so I'm so excited to be kind of preaching. Hopefully I'm preaching to the choir with some of you here, but some of you, it's brand new to you and you're just wanting to figure it out. So those are just some of the benefits. But again, I'm going to go much deeper into all of that inside my free training that's coming up in 2 weeks, I think it is. And I know she did put that inside the chat. If anybody wants to register for that, please do. It's going to be fun. And I'm going to be sharing things that I've never shared before that I'm excited to share with you guys. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What do I need to get started? What kind of gear do I need to start my first live shopping show? That's a great question, and that maybe should have been the first one, because that's probably the one I get most often, because it is confusing. There are so many cameras out there. How fancy of a camera do I need? There are so many different kinds of microphones and lighting, and do you need any of it? And so that is a great question. What I will tell you is that there are some people that will tell you, guess what? You can go live just with your phone. That's it. You can start right now. And if you are an Amazon seller, you can right now go to Amazon Live, set up your account for free, get out your iPhone and have at it. And that is not false. You actually can do it that way. But there are some basic, in my opinion, rules to live shopping that will make you exponentially more successful, that will keep viewers engaged throughout the entire show if you just kind of take a few steps ahead of time in terms of gear and equipment. And so, yes, you can use your iPhone, and the cameras are incredible. And so I'm not saying don't use your iPhone. But in addition to the iPhone, really, really important is to have decent lighting. Amazon Live, when it first launched in 2019, I remember watching and I remember scrolling past show after show after show because they were truly unwatchable for reasons. Many times it was either the lighting or the sound. And so if we don't have decent lighting and we don't have decent sound, your people are going to tune in and tune out really, really quick. So I do recommend some basics in terms of microphone, lighting, and a camera. And again, you can use your iPhone, but I have, in fact, I do actually have a gear guide that is inside my Live Shopping Academy course, but I'm giving that to you guys for free. You can get it. I think, oh, there she is ahead of me again. It's already inside the chat. You can grab that free gear guide. And the way I set that up is really sort of good, better, best. So depending on what your budget is, if you're just starting out and you have a shoestring budget, there's a setup that will work for you. And if you are someone that is, more seasoned, or you really want to start out with a bang out of the gate, there is a setup that will work for you. And if you are someone who wants to take it to the nth degree, we've got that too. And then I also included in there kind of things outside of that. In fact, on my website, you can also find, I'm trying to remember where it is on my website, but things like the setup, if you have props that you want to put in backs, just different things that I recommend in terms of kind of your background. So again, depending on how much or how little you want, it does not have to be expensive at all. And so that's what I really want to, even though I want you to have good lighting and good sound and good cameras, the way things are these days in retail, it's amazing how affordable those things are. So it can be very, very inexpensive for you to get started and to have your first show look like a very high quality live stream. And again, you can check out my gear guide, but if you already have that, just make sure those three things are covered. And then on top of that, when you think of what exactly do I need, I do get a lot of questions about, do I have to be signed up with a live shopping platform of sorts, like an app? And while there are some incredible apps out there, that I do have my recommended ones that I try to use them all so that I do know which ones are the best and what I can share with you my thoughts on each one. But you also don't need an app. You also can start on Facebook Live if you want. You can be on your website and simulcast to Facebook Live and Instagram Live and YouTube Live and all the other platforms by using, and this is an app, but if you wanted to do it that way, the app that I use with Grommet Live is called Restream. And Restream is a very simple way to simulcast to all of those platforms. So you can do that if you want to. But again, and I think they have a free trial, so it is not expensive to get started at all if you wanted to go that route. But you don't have to do a Restream. You can do it just right on top, right on any one of the social media platforms. And as I mentioned earlier, if you happen to be an Amazon seller, I'm always amazed how many Amazon sellers have no idea that Amazon Live is available to them at any time, 24/7. You can go live on Amazon. So I recommend that highly to anybody that is an Amazon seller. And if you want more information on that, we can do a whole show on how that works and how to get set up and how to capitalize on it. Because even if you have very few viewers on your Amazon Live, it's taking that content from your Amazon Live and creating videos from that can be uploaded to your product listing page. And that's where the real value comes in my opinion, with Amazon Live. So we can talk about that. Okay, another question that I get is, and we talked about this a second ago, what if I don't have any followers? Who is going to watch my show if I have this little tiny following, or I have no following and I'm just getting started? And I love that question because I do remember, and I've mentioned it on this show before, I remember my first live shopping event. I remember I was in my dining room and I remember looking at the number of the eyeball with the number on it. And I remember seeing the number 3. And so I had 3 viewers, and I didn't know who they were, but I was pretty sure they were family members. And then I remember watching it grow. And did it grow exponentially in that first show? It didn't, to be honest, it didn't. But it did grow. Actually, I should say exponentially. I think I got to 9 at one point. But what you will find, and this was a long time ago, so now it's amazing what happens when you go live on any one of the social media platforms. Because what we know about live shopping is the average view time can get up to 20 and 30 minutes per show. And when the social media platforms see that you have this long view time, that's exciting to them. And so they reward that by pushing it out to more people, because it must be good content if people are staying on there that long. So they are doing their magic behind the scenes just because it's going on for longer. Just that in of itself helps. But if you know strategies to engage those people who are on there, even if it's just 2 or 3 people, but you're going back and forth with them, that's another thing that the platforms love. And so again, they're behind the scenes. They're figuring out who those 3 people are and seeing, wow, they really like this content. So we're going to find 2 or 3 more people who are like these and push it out to them. So now suddenly you went from 3 people to 6 people, and those are very targeted people, and it didn't cost you a dime, and they did that for you. And I'm using very small numbers with that, but you can imagine how exponentially that grows over time. And so when I say, if you build it, they will come, trust me, they will come, and your numbers will build. I will also say, if you work really hard to build those numbers and you have this following that comes back, they expect you to be there. And so consistency is really, really important with that. I have noticed there are times when I've had to take breaks from live shopping on Amazon Live. Let's say I maybe when I took a break, I had 4,000 viewers during a show. And I actually took about a 6-month break. And then when I came back, it was 1 or 200. And it took me a while to get back up because nobody knew where I went. So my fault, but I would just say, when you get started with live shopping, decide on what's comfortable for you in terms of how often you can go live and stick to it. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Super, super important. Okay, I'm going to do one more question because the time goes way too quickly on this show. I need more time. Okay, so one more question. I would say there's 2 that I'm choosing between. I'm going to say the next one is, who do I get to host my show? Another really, really common one. This, again, is going to depend, and there are so many different options. I'm happy to tell you. If you are someone who's petrified of being on camera, it doesn't have to be you. But I will also tell you, and especially inside the Live Shopping Academy, we teach you all kinds of strategies and tricks and tips and things like that to get you comfortable. And the more you do it, the more you'll love it. And these are things that I can pretty much say are guaranteed to work. And so my wish for you is that it would be you, because there is nobody better to tell your story and to, really get behind it with passion than you. However, I also like sort of a 1-2 punch. I like when there's 2 hosts, because it's just, you're bouncing off of each other and you're having fun together. So maybe it's you and an employee inside your company, someone that works with you that also has passion for the product. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a guest expert who has something to say within your category niche that you can have on with you. Or if you're someone that wants to hire a host, you can definitely do that. And there are host agencies out there, and I can share with you guys different ways to find those hosts. But most importantly, when you're looking for a host, what I would want you to look for is someone that is authentic and that is authentically passionate about your product, or can get to a point that they're authentically passionate about your product. And the other quality I would really want you to look for is someone that is able to engage with an audience, any kind of audience, but someone that is conversational and is comfortable going back and forth with an audience. That's also really, really important. But again, that does not have to be expensive at all. And so everything that I've talked about, I'm so happy to say, because I know e-commerce is really, really tough right now. I know that the profit margins are getting slimmer and slimmer. I know that ad spend is skyrocketing and the results from ad spend are minuscule at best. I know that marketing agencies are charging you a ton just to kind of get in the door with them, and then they promise you the world, and not so often do they deliver even close to the world. I know it's tough. And so because I've been in live shopping for so long and I can speak to the benefits of it, I can tell you exactly what it's going to cost to get started and how to get started and all of that. That's why my passion for it has never been higher, because I'm seeing everybody struggling and I'm wanting to say, guys, you have this sort of golden ticket right in front of you that is there for the taking if you want it. And it's also really fun to do. And it's also a way for you to connect with people that you have created these products for. So lots of good reasons to get started with live shopping, and why now is the best time to get started with live shopping, because it's something I like to say, the way I think of it is you're taking the power back with your company and your product. It's so it's such a kind of a disarming feeling to know that when you put all of that in the hands of a marketing agency, or when you spend all this, on Facebook ads, and you just hope that it gets to the right person. But when it's you or someone that you believe in going live to an audience of your own followers and to followers who have never met you, you're suddenly back in control. And you can think of ways that you want to shape those events to hit the goals that you have for those events, whatever those goals might be. And it might not be sales, it might be audience reach, it might be building your email list, it might be reducing your returns. So, wanting to explain how the product works better. Lots of different ways to use it. I promised you guys a tip, and I'm going to give you that tip right now. And then I do have several questions that have come in. I'm going to get to at least one of them. And then the other questions I will answer inside the description or on next week's show. Let's see. Okay, so let me just get to the tip really quick, and then I will get to that question because it is a really good question. So the top live shopping tip of Let's Talk Live Shopping this week, as I mentioned, it is a tool. And this tool, I would love to know in the chat how many of you know of this tool, and then I'm going to explain why I love it for live shopping. The tool is called ManyChat. Has anybody used ManyChat? It's a very popular tool right now for lots of different uses, but I'm curious how many people have heard of ManyChat. If you have seen somebody in social media that says, hey, send me a DM if you want to get my, I'll just say how I would use it. Send me a DM if you want to get my free live shopping gear guide. And so then you would, no, I'm sorry, I would say in the comment section, type the word gear guide, and I will send my free live shopping gear guide straight to your direct messages. How many have seen that, use that? Anyway, that is a tool called ManyChat. And I do love it for lots of reasons. But when I think of doing a live shopping event, my mind goes crazy with all the uses for it, because I can say in the comment section below, type the word spring sale, and I'm going to send you a special discount. It could be as high as 75% off for the next 7 days, and it's going to go straight to your DM that you can use. And so then what happens? I've got all these people in the comment section typing spring sale or whatever code I just gave you guys. So what is that doing? Number one, that's triggering the algorithm, right? Because I've got all these people chiming in, and then that's all automated. Once they chime in, automatically that coupon will get sent to their DM. And now guess what? You have just connected with this person who you may never have connected with before. And so, yes, they're getting the coupon, but what if they forgot to use it? What if they abandon it in the cart or in the DMs? You can go back to them, and it can all be automated. You don't have to think about it. You can go back to them after the show, after 3 or 4 days from now, and say, hey, want to make sure you got the coupon and make sure you didn't have any trouble using it. Curious what you chose to buy with it. Something, just kind of create some kind of conversation with them. And then maybe you have another big sale coming up in 2 months right before the sale. Hey, just wanted to drop in and let you know about this sale, and I have this live shopping event coming up. Wanted to let you know, hope you can be there. Here's the link. And suddenly you've got this connection that feels very, that they love the attention that you're giving them, that kind of one-on-one attention. So you triggered the algorithm, which is a very good thing when it comes to live shopping or anything on social media. You've connected in an authentic, engaging way, and it was all automated so that you didn't have to think about it. And I set up mine not too long ago. I did myself. I went through, and you can go on and on. I mean, I could set up a chain for a year to talk to this person if I wanted to. or I can dive in later and add things as they come up within my business. But it's incredible. I think it is so helpful when it comes to live shopping. It's helpful for lots of reasons, but I think live shopping could be one of the very best uses of it. And I don't even know if ManyChat has thought of that. But that's my tip to ManyChat too, not just you guys. So I know Jen mentioned it inside the chat right there. I'm going to give you the sign up code. I think I have a special one that gives you a I need to double check that, but I think there's a free trial with it too, which I would recommend also. But very, very easy to do, very easy to set up, very easy to use. So I love that. And then getting to the question, let's see, this is a question from Cindy for the end. Okay, are recorded shopping sessions with a shop here button as effective as live shopping? Very good question. And Cindy and everybody else who's watching, what I want to say to that, again, one of my favorite things about live shopping, it's what happens after the show. And so if I'm doing live shopping right now, tomorrow night, I'm doing Grommet Live. After Grommet Live, I've got the replay of Grommet Live up. I've got it on my website. I've got it on the different social channels that I went live on. If I need to go back into the description and add links to certain products that maybe I didn't add to begin with, I can do that. And that lives on indefinitely. Except the one exception is Facebook now, after 30 days, they do delete live events. So that is the exception. But other than that, how amazing is that? That's going to live on forever. And you can retarget that. You can come up with still posts on Pinterest and all the different, and say, hey, you might want to check out this live shopping event. And you can either say, give a timestamp and say, I talked about this product at timestamp, blah, blah, blah. That's a little convoluted. What I really recommend is that you take your content from your live shopping event, hand it to an editor on Fiverr or Upwork, and have them splice it into different sections that you can repurpose with links directing straight to the products that you're selling. And again, those live on forever. It is, I mean, talk about, I know how painful it is to come up with different things to post on social media. We all can't stand it. You are not alone. Live shopping is a content machine for social media because every single event can become 10, 20, 30 different pieces of content that you can use indefinitely, as long as you keep them somewhat evergreen and don't put dates and times to it. Then you can use that. And if you very inexpensively, you can hire a freelancer to create all that content for you. And so if you are a solopreneur or sort of a smaller mom and pop, that's really good news, because you're not having to come up with all these ideas and things on your own. You host one live shopping event and you hire a freelancer to turn it into social media content. It's a very, very beautiful thing. Annie, let's see. Yes, engagement. Well, what if you do a recorded live session and end up going out of sale? I doubt recording would be a good idea. Again, everything is going to depend. Yes, if you are out of stock, you would take that down, or you would in the description, you would write, if you're interested in XYZ product, I'm sorry, that one is sold out. If you were smart, what I would do is you can join the wait list here, and then you're capturing an email right there. So there's always a way, and that's one of those strategies that I talk a lot about, is growing that email list through live shopping, and that's one of the many ways that you can do that. But yes, repurposing is where it's at when it comes to live shopping, which is another reason why it doesn't matter how many followers you have and how many people come to your show, because you can take that content and turn it into a million other pieces of content that can have purchase links to it, and you can get it out there to the masses. So it is a great thing. Once again, I have gone over. I am guilty. Jen's going to be on my rear end for that one. And thank you, Annie. I try. I do want to mention that we are live every Wednesday, 1 o'clock on the West Coast, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. I'm excited for next week's show. I did want to mention that I am going to be talking about my 5 favorite top tips for live shopping. And I always, I really, as you guys can probably tell, I'm a little outside of the box with my tips and my thoughts on live shopping. And that's probably because I've been doing it so long that I have figured out sort of little tips and tricks on my own. And I love sharing those with you guys. So I'm going to have 5 of those next week. So please set a reminder. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. Please do that, because I've mentioned before, my YouTube channel was shut down and I am starting from scratch after 12 years. Lost everything. So I would so appreciate you guys subscribing to the YouTube channel, but also if you hit the bell, you'll always be notified ahead of time of when I'm going to go live with another one of these shows or Grommet Live or things like that. So do hit that bell and you will be notified. So do come back next week for that. And then again, tomorrow night, we have Grommet Live Father's Day Gifting Made Easy. That's always a really fun show. So I hope you can join me for that. And then I do want to mention one last time my free training workshop, because if you are even remotely thinking about diving in, this training workshop is going to give you a lot of information and tools and strategies to do just that. I'm also going to be sharing in that training at the tail end, I'm going to be sharing about my course, my Live Shopping Academy course. And so you can learn about that if that's something that you're interested as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us live today on Let's Talk Live Shopping. It was really fun, great conversation, great engagement in the chat. So thank you for that. And you can always go back and watch it. All the free resources I mentioned, you can get on my website, marcymckenna.com. So you head over there if you missed them inside the chat. And I hope to see you tomorrow night or next week on Let's Talk Live Shopping. Bye-bye.